Welcome to 8 Unedited Minutes brought to you by the National Speakers Association of Illinois. You can't be everything to everyone, and nobody is perfect. While it's easy to say, admitting your flaws isn't always easy to do. In this episode, I discuss how to turn transparency into a powerful sales tool with my guest, Todd Caponi. Todd's nerdery for behavioral science caused him to leave his role as the chief revenue officer of Chicago's fastest growing company to write a book he thought might suck. It turns out that book turned into an award winner that Book Authority had ranked as the sixth best sales book of all time, The Transparency Sale. He's since released two more, including his new one, Four Levers Negotiating, and now speaks and teaches revenue teams how to turn transparency into their revenue superpower. We dive into topics including how to stand out in a crowded marketplace of speakers, why you should lead a potential client meeting with the things you don't do, how, when, and why people buy your services, the one thing above all else you need to do to turn transparency into profitability, and other golden nuggets of advice. You're going to love this show. Todd, thank you for doing this interview. I appreciate you.
It is so good to see you, Mark. Thanks for having me.
And we're going to talk about why it doesn't pay, or at least not pay well, to be everything, try to be everything to everyone. Before we get into the tips, the tricks, the tactics, why is that important to you? What's your story in that world?
Well, listen, it started when I was the chief revenue officer of a company here in Chicago, and we were in the ratings and review space. So it's stuff that everybody that is listening has interacted with. You buy something online, scroll down, there's reviews. We are the engine. What we had found during some research is that we all read reviews today, but more importantly, almost all of us go to the negative reviews first, right? I don't know if you do that, but we skip the fives. We read the fours, threes, twos, and ones first. And the last data point was that a product, and this is across all product categories, that has an average review score between a 4.2 and a 4.5. That's actually optimal for purchase conversion when a website's acting as the salesperson. Negative reviews under that same product make it sell better than a product that has nothing but perfect 5-star reviews. I had taken that to, hey, does that apply to human or B2B selling, and specifically speaking and teaching? The answer was emphatically yes. That we as human beings at a subconscious level know that perfection doesn't exist, and we need the negative to even be able to process the positive. When we started to actually enact that in our sales team, and when I was the chief revenue officer there, where we led with what we gave up to be great at our core, sales cycles sped up, win rates went up. We worked with the clients we should be working with. We lost the ones we're probably going to lose anyway, just a lot faster, getting that valuable asset of time back. And the most important thing is we actually differentiated in the way that we sold. We were the cool kids that everybody wanted to deal with. So playing that long game wins, but more importantly, transparency actually sells better than trying to be perfect.
Okay, I could guess an answer, but I got to ask, how does that tie into why you shouldn't be everything to everyone?
Well, yeah, I mean, we had talked a little bit about this earlier, that I once had a chief revenue officer of a massive software company reach out to me. Apparently he'd heard good things. And when we got on the call, I was excited. Whoa, this could be huge. He started laying out for me what his challenges were, and they weren't things that I address. And so I immediately told him that, listen, based on what's important to you, I could talk about it, but if you made a list of the top 50 people that do, I'd come in at probably around number 47. Can I connect you with the top one or two that I think are the best in the world at that? This guy was like, that's awesome. I would love that. Who are they? We talked about that. And then after that conversation calmed down, he was like, Todd, what is it you focus on? And I took him through those things, and he was like, well, we need that too. Ended up with a massive opportunity there. But again, if we try to pretend to be all things to all people and get desperate, that's gross, first of all. But second of all, we've got to play the long game, because it either means you're going to lose quickly, which is great, or you're going to end up getting the deal anyway. So to all my speaker friends out there, stop trying to be all things to all people. When you actually lead with the things you don't do, that's when all the magic happens.
How do you even start to find a niche? Because I know that, and especially in the speaking world, I can talk about this. How do you start to find a niche to not so you're not trying to be everything to everyone?
Well, it's got to be in your wheelhouse, right? When you walk into a room and you know that you can share information that nobody else in that audience can, like that's where you start to build that expertise. So then you got to, never stop learning and double click on it to make sure you extend your lead. But gosh, we're human, right? Like we can't be experts on all things. There are better people out there that do what we do on specific topics. Why not build that ecosystem? I mean, what I've found from that referral type of focus is that is feeding me back. I've been doing this for 7 years now, and 100% of my engagements are via referral, via upsell, cross sell, via companies taking me with them to their next organization because I know what I'm really good at. I know I can crush it. And the things that I can't are the things that create that buzz that that guy's not that good. So figure out what that focus is. What are you passionate about? What do you know that you slay every time you go? And then double click there.
Well, once you figure out what it is what's next in the marketing strategy? Is it reaching out to everyone and sharing your niche? Is it, like you said, you work through referrals. Once you figure out what your niche is, how do you start to market yourself to stand out in a crowded speaking market?
Well, I mean, it started accidentally. I mean, that whole transparency discovery, I think we had talked about this, and this isn't some imposter syndrome or something. I wrote my first book, The Transparency Sale Behind Me, just to get the ideas out there because, gosh, it feels good to be honest, but also happens to sell better. And because of the proliferation of information on everything we do, buy, experience, B2C, B2B, we got to do it anyway. I wanted to write this book. I thought it would suck because, like, what did I know about writing a book? I barely passed English class in high school. So I wrote the book just to get the ideas out there. That started it. So I started to brand myself around it. And then again, I post on LinkedIn, I share, but you got to remember this. And I heard this on one of the NSA, I don't remember the name of the podcast, but it's been said over and over again that every time you walk into a room and there's an audience, you got to treat that audience like there's probably a future prospect in this room. So I better slay it and continue to brand myself as the expert in this category because they're going to talk if I really, really do well. And if I don't, they're not going to be telling anybody. So that's always been my lens. Started with the book, share, focus, and then create great experiences for the people that participate in your programs. And that starts the ball rolling.
Well, once you get it rolling, going good, you're getting referrals. How long do you stay in that niche? How do you know? Because people need, keeping things fresh and whatnot. What is your advice for knowing when to stay in your lane and knowing when it's time? It's been a few years, maybe it's time to change lanes. How do you know when to stay and when to change?
Well, for me, I just found natural extensions to it, right? So that this power of transparency and this idea that when we pretend to be perfect, people push back. I mean, we as human beings don't buy when we're convinced. If we do, we're probably pissed about it 20 minutes later. We buy when we can predict, right? And so that was where it started. But then you start to see the applications across everything. Like for me, I started seeing the applications around how companies message and position themselves. And then I started seeing how they take buyers through the decision journey. And then I saw them doing it in the way that they formally message. I got a new book coming out in January called 4 Levers Negotiating. That has to do with how do we apply this to the way that we present, propose, and negotiate our pricing. I've written a book on leadership. It applies there. So get that core, and then just naturally through conversations and through experience, you start to see the extension of that to other areas. And then now you've got this broad, it almost goes from being a kind of a cool philosophy to being an applied methodology that can be applied multiple places.
This has been awesome. We covered a lot of ground in a short period of time when it comes to being transparent and just not trying to be everything to everyone. You said a lot of good stuff. But if you were to say to the people watching or listening, if you're going to not be everything to everyone, at least do this one thing. At least do this one thing. What would you tell them to do?
I would say that we've got to understand that our role is to help our audience, our decision makers predict. We're not there to convince them. We are there to predict them. That means doing the homework for them, presenting the pros and the cons, the risks, the downsides, the upsides, and the journey. When we do that, that's when you come across as being a consultant and advisor. and not some plaid coat wearing, gold chain wearing salesperson, right? You don't have to be gross to be a salesperson. Help your buyers predict. Don't try to convince them.
That is awesome. If people want to find you online, where's the best place or places to go?
ToddCaponi.com has got it all. And I do share a lot of my nonsense on LinkedIn, just Todd Caponi, but would love to hear where you heard me when you reach out.
This has been awesome. Thank you again. I appreciate you, Todd.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And scene. Done.
Awesome. Cool. Right on.